Next on Worcester News Tonight, one day after Webster police arrest a man on charges including kidnapping, safety officials are reminding people to keep an eye out for stranger danger. Plus, protecting police canines. A proposed bill would allow for medical transport of an injured canine officer. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. In light of the recent kidnapping in Webster, public officials are warning parents and their children about stranger danger. Wednesday, a Connecticut man was arrested for luring a minor into his car, and in the midst of the summer season, this may be the most dangerous time for children. Our Cam Jandro is live in Worcester tonight with more. Cam?
If you go to the Worcester Public Schools website, there's an entire list on tips and ideas on how to keep your child safe if they ever have to go out for a walk. Earlier today, I spoke to the city's school safety director, and he says the idea of stranger danger is something they've been hammering home to students for decades now. Just one day after Webster police arrest a Connecticut man on charges including kidnapping here in Worcester, school safety director Rob Pizzella is reminding people to keep an eye out for strangers approaching children, which he says is a common occurrence.
We are from elementary school children up to high school youth, teenagers, approaching their principal and saying that they were just approached by a stranger who was trying to lure them either into their vehicle or into their homes.
Pizzella says spreading the message of stranger danger is always important, but maybe more so in the summer with children not in school. He advises kids to never go out alone.
In the event that you do get confronted by a stranger, there's somebody there that can hopefully help you, or go and run and ask for help.
Wednesday, Webster police arrested 35-year-old Joshua Bassah, who allegedly kidnapped and sexually assaulted a 12-year-old girl. Police say he lured the girl into his car before taking her to Connecticut. For Chief Michael Shaw, it's crucial for parents to be as alert as possible.
With the advent of social media and devices with the cell phones, know what your kids are doing and talk to them about what could happen out there. You can never have enough conversations about that.
Pizzella agrees, saying phones and social media have made personal information more available.
Please, you gotta take precautions, whether it's during school hours, to and from school, or you're participating in some type of extracurricular activity after school hours, in particular during the summer months.
Now, Pizzella says having a phone for your child is also a good thing because if they ever found themselves in a dangerous situation, they'd have that ability to call someone. Another idea, he said, is if they're going for a walk, give them a lanyard with a whistle. That way, if something were to happen, they could blow it and make some noise. We're live in Worcester tonight. I'm Cam Jandro. Anna, back to you.
Thanks, Cam. A community workshop in Worcester tonight is hosted by the Baker-Polito administration and focuses on reducing transportation emissions in the state. 9 states, including Massachusetts, are working together to tackle what they say is one of the bigger environmental problems: greenhouse gas emissions from cars, buses, and trucks. The workshop is part of a regional effort to get feedback from different communities. Here in Worcester, the WRTA has electric buses, and Commissioner of Massachusetts DEP Martin Suberg says they're trying to get other systems looking at these as well. He says Massachusetts has ambitious goals for upping the number of electric vehicles on the road.
Greenhouse gases lead to global warming. We need to reduce that trend. We have a state law that says we need to bring down greenhouse gas emissions by 25% by 2020 and 80% by 2050. We have a lot of work to do, and the transportation sector is one of the big areas.
Suberg says they'll be holding other meetings across the state in August to get input. Then they'll come back in the fall once they've developed some ideas. Worcester police are investigating after a sculpture at Elm Park goes missing. The 3-decker smile created by artist Emma Hendry was one of 23 pieces selected for Interlude's Art in the Park 2019 show. It was installed at Elm Park in June and was supposed to be on display until September. According to police, it was reported missing on July 11th. If you see the sculpture, you're asked to contact Art in the Park or police. At the State House today, lawmakers hearing a bill allowing police canines injured in the line of duty to be treated and transported by EMS. It's called Nero's bill, inspired by the canine partner of Yarmouth Police Sergeant Sean Gannon. Worcester police say it's a bill they support. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
Worcester police officer Daniel Pelletore says canine Beebs is usually the first one going into a dangerous situation while on the job, and says Beebs getting hurt is something he thinks about.
Something we hope never happens.
At the State House Thursday, the parents of Yarmouth Police Sergeant Sean Gannon begged for change of what they call an outdated law. Sergeant Gannon's canine Nero had to wait hours for emergency care after being wounded during the shooting, killing his partner. Nero's bill would allow emergency personnel to treat and transport police canines.
I know that Sean would have known that his canine was suffering for 3 hours because of an outdated law. That's just wrong. It's wrong, and we can fix it.
Officer Pelletore says it's much easier and safer to transport a canine in an ambulance than the back of a police cruiser.
The back of an ambulance is like a mini hospital. It has everything that we may need in order to, stabilize the dog.
Officer Pelletore agrees it's about time something is done to make sure the officers on 4 legs are protected.
It is good to see that, Massachusetts is going ahead, taking care of it, and doing what needs to be done. Unfortunately, it was, that happened that took it to come forth.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A bizarre discovery made by U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents. An officer with the Worcester office interpreted a package with more than 100 counterfeit Super Bowl championship and World Series rings. They were found in a shipment from China. All 101 rings will be destroyed. Right now, it's unclear who the rings were addressed to or whether they'll face any charges. The House voting to gradually raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025. The Raise the Wage Act calls for a gradual increase to be phased in over several years. The federal minimum wage has not been raised since 2009. The bill, however, is unlikely to pass the Republican-dominated Senate. GOP leaders have branded the measure as a jobs killer and claimed it would be devastating to working families. A local family knows all too well the importance of AEDs. They lost 2 of their sons to cardiac arrest. Now local leaders are also partnering to make sure others know how to use an automatic external defibrillator. Our Brittany Schaefer has more.
Analyzing heart rhythm.
Knowing how to use an automatic external defibrillator can be the difference between life and death.
It's the most common cause of death in the United States outside the hospital, and only 8% survive nationally. But in places where people do CPR right away and where defibrillators are brought as quickly as possible and EMS responds quickly, those places can have 40% or 60% survival.
It's why UMass Memorial Medical Center is teaming up with the city for Take Heart Worcester.
That is the key thing if we're going to change and increase the survival of the people in the city. It's that we need to be able to teach people CPR, and they need to be able to use a defibrillator when one's available.
John Elsesser knows the importance of AEDs firsthand. He lost his sons Mike and Tim to cardiac arrest in 2010 and 2015 when AEDs were not near.
He caught a pass, picked up the first down, got hit, and sadly went into cardiac arrest. But with no AED at the field, no ambulance at the field, Mike passed on the field that day. And sadly, tragedy struck us again with my youngest son, Tim, while boating, swimming, and diving off the boat with his older brother, Pat. Had a cardiac event, and they rushed him to the hospital in Webster, and he was pronounced dead too.
Elsesser says he is proud the city is stepping up to get more people trained and aware of life-saving knowledge.
I'm thrilled. I was born and raised in Worcester up on Beverly Road, and to see my hometown step up and take a leadership role and be active in CPR training, AED knowledge, it's fantastic.
Training in Worcester begins Monday with dozens of city employees. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
A merger with Illinois-based company Grassroots makes Curaleaf the world's biggest marijuana seller. The Wakefield-based marijuana company Curaleaf says it signed an agreement to acquire Grassroots. Curaleaf has a medical marijuana dispensary in Oxford. In a statement, Curaleaf CEO says in part, this transaction significantly accelerates our expansion strategy and strengthens our reach across the medical and adult use markets. Curaleaf already operates in 12 states, and the expansion will give it operations in 19 states.